Fuck you. So this one, in case you can't tell by the cover, it's a parody of Twilight. It's called Nightlight, which is not in capital letters at all, which does annoy me. I don't like it when book covers don't use a capital letter for their title. It does annoy me. But other than that, it does aesthetically look like the Twilight book, and I like this little shtick it's got going on over here. That's fucking funny. But overall, this book was fucking confusing. It reads like someone went into an editor, wrote a book, copy and pasted stuff, and like just flew it everywhere. There's stuff that feels completely out of place, like it's supposed to be later on in the book, but it's kind of thrown in this earlier part of the book for no reason. And other parts feel like there was something there, and it just got, like, torn out and thrown in the wastebasket, and, like, the editing never fixed it. So that was a peeve of it, and there's some words in here that not only I didn't know, but Google didn't know. And that is both impressive and infuriating, because I don't know what you're fucking saying. But because it is a parody, it can get away with more shit. It can get away with ludicrous characters, scenarios that don't make any fucking sense, and things just being completely weird and wrong and fucked up, because it's a parody. It's allowed to be wacky, zany, and weird. So I give it more wiggle room because of that. Because, yeah, this entire book is wacky, zany, and weird. You have the main character, Belle. Have to change the names, you know. Oh god. She is an egomaniac. Completely egotistical, completely self-centered. Thinks literally everything walking wants to date her. Even teachers, her own parents, the random mailman, because apparently being a mailman means you want to date her. For some reason, she thinks she's in the history books. She considers becoming a Nazi. She's a hardcore conspiracy theorist. She doesn't believe snow is made out of water. Or ice, for that matter. Basically, she believes a lot of, like, wacky-ass, zany shit. And, frankly, she's, like, borderline completely insane, as far as I'm concerned. As a character, she's delusional, insane, and crazy. Sure, Belle was definitely insane and crazy, but, like, she also believes aluminum causes AIDS, doesn't believe driving laws exist if it's snowing. She doesn't know that snow melts. I think there was even one point, oh yeah, right, she doesn't believe in outer space except for the moon. Very specifically, except for the moon. And NASA is apparently a retirement home for CIA agents. Yeah, so go nuts with some brand new conspiracy theorists, world. This lady's chock full with them. Belle. And somehow, I don't know how, but the author managed to make Belle more clumsy. Like, literally, she will stand up, 30 people will fall over, a ball of fire will appear on a curtain, and the house will blow up. She goes to dance, and it turns into an angry flash mob of 30 people dying. Her klutziness is, like, beyond feasible rationality in any universe. And I think one area that does annoy me as well is Belle, completely ridiculous character, right? The other characters in the story, like Edwart, horrible name, sort of attempt to behave almost like rational, reasonable people. Except for no one reacts rationally or reasonably to anything Belle does ever. At all. Ever. Like, no one even, like, comments on it or draws attention to it. The closest you get to anyone recognizing that the shit she's saying is completely insane is them just going, huh? Or thinking she's talking about something totally different. Back onto the name thing. Edwart is the worst fucking name I've ever heard. I hate it. It's horrible. I hated reading the name Edwart every single time it was there. It's annoying and horrible. I hate the name. The name Edwart can fuck off. I don't like that name. You could have done anything. Eddie, Ed, Ed's, Ederson even would have been better than Edwart. That is horrible. You could have even gone Edwardian. Sure, that would have been a little bit more obvious, but at least it wouldn't have been painful to read. And this book, God, this thing took me like 4 or 5 hours to read, even though it's only like 100 pages, because I kept having to stop going, ugh, what? I can't read this. I can't. What? I had to stop doing that on so many occasions because it was just painful and too ridiculous to read. I like ridiculous too. This just takes it to a level that's just not even sensible. It's just completely fucking ludicrous. And then, like, you go on to world building with it. The world building is actually decent. Like, Belle, suitably insane. Suitably insane. World building is a high school classroom. Pretty easy peasy. No problems there. But it's also nothing to write home about. It's not fantastic world building. Not at all. It's pretty decent, but whatever. And really, the only characters in this book is basically Belle and Edwart. All the other characters are, like, either barely there, or not there at all, beyond being like, this person exists! Ha 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 ha, you fuck! You have painful claws! Yeah. That hurt. That hurt. Ow. Fuck. Ow. I will pet you, how about that? Ow! Anyway. All the other characters basically don't exist, or barely exist, so there's no point in even mentioning them. And the synopsis for this, basically, I guess I should have mentioned this from the get-go, is you have Belle, who's like a vampire-obsessed psychopath with egomaniac issues and like a grade A fucking idiot. And basically she wants to date a vampire. That's her one obsession, is to date a vampire. And then you have Edwart, who she becomes convinced is a vampire for no real reason. She gives reasons, but they're not reasons, in that they just don't make any logical sense. Like, I wasn't able to garner what the fuck her reasons were. Like, well, one of her reasons was that he got hit by a snowball and the snowball melted. That was one of her reasons why he had to be a vampire, because he made a snowball melt when it hit him. Yeah. Doesn't make sense. Anyway. That's pretty much the entire plot, honestly. There's not a whole lot of plot to this. It basically takes the entire Twilight book and mashes it into 100 pages. And is, like, completely fucking random at points. Oh, and there's a robot. There's robots. There's robots in this book. Well, okay, one robot. And it's a robot that lives buried under the dirt. Yeah. And there are actually vampires in this book. You won't know it, but they are actually there if you pay attention. And the ending, because my battery's dying, so I'm just going to get to the ending here. Because this is a 100-page book, I can't say a whole lot about it. The ending is awful. I hate it. I hate the fucking ending. It is fucking terrible. Obviously, I can't tell you what the ending is without spoiling it, but basically the ending completely changes Belle's character from psychopath, wacky fucker, nut job, to completely rational, normal, reasonable person in like the span of 2 bloody seconds. Not even. And that's just bad writing. I'm sorry, that's shit writing. Shit. I don't like it. And the other area where I have to complain with the writing is, again, where it happens in the span of 2 seconds. And Edwart is portrayed as someone who absolutely will not date anyone ever. Nerdy geek who will not date. And in, like, 2 seconds, it's immediately like, I will date, I like girls, you, me, now, I will do everything for you, and I will pretend to be anything for you, and I will do everything for you. That's kind of annoying. It's like, what the fuck? No one changes that quickly. That's insane. Even in a parody world, that's insane. Overall, I mean, if you want to read a Twilight parody, I'd recommend it. If you want to read a book that's, like, utterly ridiculous and insane and wild and fucked up, I'd recommend it. But if that's not your cup of tea, you will fucking hate it. Because it is definitely ridiculous and over the top. And I actually have another Twilight parody that I have to read, and hopefully that one is more to my liking, because this was just... it was too ridiculous. I like ridiculous, but this just kind of was not written well enough for the ridiculousness. And I think there's, like, a point in here where there's, like, just a bunch of fucking blank pages. Oh, yeah. Bunch of fucking blank pages. Like, before that, you have pages with actual writing on it, and then you go to pages that are fucking blank. Not sure if that's an error in the one I got, but it was like, what? If that's not an error in the book, then that's just poorly done. So, Nightlight, a Twilight parody. Sounds awesome. Oh, and they do make a lot of jabs at the book in here. That was the highlight of the book, is seeing the random jabs at the Twilight book. It's like, that's funny. I see what you did there. That's funny. But I wouldn't read this without reading Twilight first. You'll be just, like, extra confused, and you'll miss the in-jokes, because there are a fair amount of in-jokes in there.